Hello and welcome to Makers of All, Master of None. Today we're going to make a glasses case out of leather. Now I can see.
So this is another project I made as a Christmas present, and this is for my father. On the way home from the airport, he was traveling on a coach and he lost his glasses along the way. So to prevent that from happening again, I decided to give him something that when he's sleeping while traveling, he wouldn't lose his glasses again. So I saw something like this in a shop or Christmas market a couple weeks prior to making this, but I didn't actually look through the product in detail to remember how it was made or any details. So we're gonna make it up as we go. I picked out the color beforehand with some help. But the first tip is to make our template. I measured a pair of spare glasses to get some general dimensions to get started. Obviously every pair of glasses is going to be different in dimension, but luckily my dad wears a very similar style of glasses to me, so if we add a bit of clearance, we should be good. For good measure, I also measured another glasses case. So the concept is fairly simple. I'll fold a piece of leather which forms the main body. One side has a flap to secure the glasses, and then a smaller piece of accent leather which could provide storage for small things. So I drew out my design and cut out a paper template to try out. And there's a bit of an issue. The clearance I added was nowhere close enough. So in an attempt to try and find the dimensions that I need, I tried rolling the paper to find out what the width would be. Attempt 2 pretty much nails down the dimensions, but I forgot about the tolerance for sewing, which is important because if you want things to look nice, you can't just tape things together. And with that, I created a final leather template. I'll draw this up and put it somewhere accessible, so if you want to make one yourself, check the description down below for a link. And with that done, I cut it out, trace the pattern onto the leather, cut the pattern, for some reason I did this in 2 steps and did the flap later, which might have led to some issues later on. And I also cut out the accent piece as well, and really it is just the bottom half of the main piece, so I cut out the bottom of the main piece template and used that to cut out that section. With the pieces now in shape, I applied some burnishing cream so that I finish up some of the edges and the back piece of the leather. Not tonical this time, as you might remember from the last video, my last bit of the bottle dried up because I lost the lid. But luckily I do have a spare bottle of burnishing cream from when I was traveling in Hong Kong and bought loads of leather supplies. This one is from Orca, and I believe it's called Toko Tuya. So let's give that a try. Similar procedure, pour it on, spread it out, let it soak a bit, massage it in. Just need to make sure that you don't make a mess like I did. So to make a little pocket, I first glued the smaller piece onto the big piece. Pretty standard stuff, marking out the width of where the glue is applied using a wing divider, scratching the surface on the leather, and then applying glue. I now have this new roller thing as well to squish all of the glue down and make sure there's a good solid contact so that it doesn't fall off. I probably should lubricate a little bit before I use it next time. As I was doing that, I remembered about a part I had originally had in my sketch but forgot to do. Something to carry the glasses case, as it's not convenient to just have the case if you can't take it with you or you lose the carry case with the glasses. So to avoid that, I added in 2 pieces, one so that we can pass a string through, and another piece to hold the D-ring so I can use a carabiner to attach to belt loops or backpacks. This part was more thinking on the go rather than having a good plan, but this part will also be in the pattern after being thought out and prototyped here. I used the light blue leather and folded that so that we can have a little loop for the string to pass through, and then a little strip of leather for the D-ring. Once I'm happy with the dimension and layout, I glued them to each other with the D-ring already on there, rounded the corners, marked out the placement on the main piece, glued the attachment pieces to the main piece, marked the stitching line, punched some holes using nothing but brute strength as I'm not even using my mallet. And after that, it is just sewing the pieces that we have just cut out and glued on.
Moments later.
And that's it. For the main body, I folded the two sides together and held them in place using some glue. After it dried, I trimmed a little bit of the edge so that they are straight, as well as using a rounded corner stamp to round the bottom corner to avoid it being caught on things and separating. Then running my wing divider to add a bit of tolerance to the outside. I didn't particularly plan for the sewing when I did the template, which is probably a bit of a mistake and I should do it next time. But this time I just used the prickling iron to space out the stitches. I'm not too concerned with the marks as they will be covered by the stitch and it's not going through the leather. So once all of that is spaced out, I bang in the holes for real and then sewed it.
1 hour later.
I was looking at my flap when I noticed it wasn't quite symmetrical, so I modified the template, transferred it across and slightly trimmed it. The front edge wasn't straight either, so I carefully straightened that. I did have a little trouble with the gluing of the attachment points, as I forgot to scratch the leather surface and it wasn't sticking properly. So I had to go through that a few times and add some extra clamps to ensure good adhesion. And then I need a method to secure the top flap when the glasses is in. You can just slide it in, but I wanted it to be a little bit more secured. So to close the flap I have a couple of different options and I went with a button. And that's pretty much the construction of the glasses carrier. Now all that's left to finish is to apply some finish, creaming the newly done edges, then burnishing it. I was going to stop there, but after some thought I decided to paint the glued edges so that I can hide the seams. It's a fairly simple process. Apply some edge paint, let it dry, sand the high spots, and then repeat until a desired effect has been achieved. I didn't color the edges of the attachment pieces as I didn't think I was going to do it in the first place and it's too late to do it now. And with that done, the final thing to do on the main body is just to seal the entire thing with beeswax. I was going to finish the project and wrap up the present when I realized that I don't actually have anything to create a strap that I can put around his neck. So I found a scrap leather piece and cut that down so that it becomes a leather string. I then beveled, sand, and creamed the strings so that there are no rough edges. After all of the preparation and finishing work is done, I threaded the string through the loop and tried out the length. I did have to trim it a little bit short and actually it might be a bit too short, but to turn the string into adjustable necklace thingy, I tied the knot on both ends of the string around the string, so that we can adjust the length of where it hangs from your neck. And with that, let's have a look at the final results. It's not too bad. It looks well made enough to be a gift and my dad was happy receiving it, even though at the end he didn't get to use it for its intended purpose as he didn't get replacement glasses soon enough. But I do have a photo of him using it as a tool pouch for his acupuncture needles. There was one problem that I found during final testing that needed a modification, and that was I have chosen one of the stiffest buttons I have, which meant that when I have the glasses in and trying to close the button, I could sometimes be pushing down onto the lens. So to avoid that, I glued another piece of leather on the underside so that it wouldn't scratch the lens. If you have added a strap on the outside, then you could have prevented this from happening altogether. But that's a different method and it doesn't fit the aesthetic I was going for. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to check out the link in the description for the pattern. Give the video a like, subscribe for more making content, and I'll see you in the next video of Makers of 4, Master of None. Bye!